San Diego man who illegally called himself a doctor who can cure cancer, now accused of still lying to people online.
A construction worker trapped in a trench for more than 5 hours. We have incredible images of the rescue.
Encinitas is tackling its e-bike problem. Details coming up.
Do you know any LGBTQ veterans in San Diego? Find out how they can be honored.
CBS 8 News, live at 6, starts now.
A San Diego man is accused of practicing medicine without a license, claiming to have a cure for cancer. And it's not the first time he's faced this type of allegation. In fact, he's just months away from a second criminal trial for similar allegations. Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Carlo Cicchetto.
And I'm Jesse Pagan in for Marcella Lee. After a long legal battle, the Valley Center ranch where the man performed the treatments has also been sold. CBS 8's Anna Laurel talked with a woman today who used to sell some of Robert Young's products and says he's still lying to people.
The woman I spoke with today, her testimonial is actually in one of Robert Young's books, but she says he lied about her success. She says she's shocked he's still online claiming he can cure cancer when he spent time behind bars for doing so.
He's a liar. He's a liar and a cheat and a thief.
That's how Laurie Johnson feels about Robert Young. She says she used Young's Super Greens drink powder and lost weight. At one point, she sold the powder for Young's company. Her story is on page 19 of his book, The pH Miracle for Weight Loss.
They had to get my permission, but they embellished my story. I was free of pain, nowhere close. Within 12 weeks, I lost 91 pounds. Not correct.
She says she was furious when the book came out and she saw how he used her. She stopped selling his product because she felt it was part of some sort of scheme.
There was no money to be made, and you just follow online and see that it's just shady.
She started researching Robert Young.
You called him Dr. Young.
That's what it says on the front of his freaking book.
But he's no doctor. He admitted in court he had no post-high school educational degrees from any accredited schools, nor was he a trained scientist, even though his Facebook bio says otherwise. He did create the pH Miracle diet and claims it fights cancer and other diseases through a strict all-vegetable diet and IVs of baking soda. His books are sold on Amazon.
Love of Jesus. Injecting baking soda into that poor woman.
In 1996, he pled guilty. Then in 2017, he spent 5 months behind bars for practicing medicine without a license. Now he faces new criminal charges for, again, treating terminally ill patients without medical training, certifications, or college degrees. Since his last criminal charges were filed, he posted a video with claims the pH Miracle can help prevent and/or reverse any cancerous condition. When Laurie saw all this, she reached out to CBS 8.
I saw about his criminal past, and it's like, boo-boo, are you kidding me? That's just not right. It's just not right that people like that get away with it.
Young's jury trial for his latest charges starts in August. We reached out to his attorney but didn't hear back. In San Diego, this is Anna Laurel for CBS 8.
Thank you, Anna. A new homeless encampment ban goes into effect in the city of San Diego in 30 days. Meantime, Mayor Todd Gloria announced a new safe sleeping site in Golden Hill today. It opens tomorrow. The safe sleeping site will count as a shelter bed, meaning if one is available, a person experiencing homelessness won't be allowed to put a tent in a public space. The new space has about 136 tents that fit 2 people each. Pets are allowed. There will also be resources available like social services and basic needs like bathrooms and food.
This is one of the offerings that we'll have, and we've diversified our portfolio greatly, and we recognize that we are often turned down when we provide offers of shelter and services, and that's why we've created congregate and non-congregate options exclusively for seniors, for women, for LGBTQ people, folks who don't want to live indoors, and that is a segment of this population. Well, now they have an option as well.
People experiencing homelessness will have 3 strikes when it comes to the new ban. On the 3rd strike, police could arrest them.
A construction worker is recovering tonight after he was trapped in a trench while working on a home in La Jolla. This all started around 8 this morning. He wasn't pulled to safety until 1:30 this afternoon. CBS 8's Abby Black has more on the tricky rescue.
The construction worker was transported here to UC San Diego Health in La Jolla after being trapped in a trench for more than 5 hours. CBS 8 has incredible images from on the ground to aerial video showing emergency crews performing a dramatic rescue. After 5.5 hours, emergency crews safely pulled a construction worker from a trench after being trapped under a concrete beam.
It's very rewarding to be able to save a life today, to make sure that this gentleman is able to continue working, go home to his family. It's very rewarding to make sure that, to see that we had a good outcome today.
This started around 8 this morning. From the CBS 8 drone, you can see the man pinned from the waist down, but you see he's awake and moving his hands. Firefighters say he was alert and talking to crews during the rescue, which gave them more time. This also allowed them to treat the man during the rescue.
As we gave him an IV with some pain medications and some medications to combat what could be a crush injury.
There were about a total of 40 lifeguards and firefighters, including technical teams at the scene.
A lot of coordination. We used 2 of the small excavators that were on site from the construction project. We had multiple rope systems set up to make sure that things didn't move. We also had airbags, lots of shoring.
Firefighters did not say how the 62-year-old man ended up in the trench, but did tell us he was working on an extensive home remodel, and part of the old foundation from the home fell on top of him in a trench that was about 8 to 10 feet deep. Deputy Fire Chief Brian Rains says that this will probably be one of the most technical rescues of the year.
So we have to shore up the trench and make sure that any action that we take in trying to raise him out or trying to remove dirt doesn't create more damage, doesn't cause more pain or more injuries for the patient. It's a very coordinated effort to make sure that all personnel at the site know exactly what they're doing, what everybody else is doing, so that actions are coordinated.
Once he was pulled from the trench, you see paramedics taking the construction worker away on a stretcher. Firefighters say he suffered a fractured arm and was transported to UC San Diego Health La Jolla to be evaluated for possible internal injuries. Incredible work by rescue crews. In La Jolla, Abby Black, CBS 8.
Thank you, Abby. Right now, the Encinitas City Council is meeting to decide if it will declare a local emergency on e-bikes and set new rules for them. They're a popular way to get around town, but serious accidents are happening more often. CBS 8's Kirsten Holmes is live at Encinitas tonight with what else the council wants to do. Kirsten?
Yeah, we are about 5 minutes into that city council meeting, and that emergency declaration is for bikes, e-bikes, and any other motorized mobility device. The goal here is to keep the streets and the e-bike riders safe. A lot of those riders are kids, and this comes after year of more accidents happening in Encinitas on e-bikes, and a 15-year-old was killed last week while he was riding an e-bike.
Mostly I'm concerned for the safety, so we got to do something.
Alyssa Berman says she's seen exactly why it's time to crack down on e-bikes in Encinitas.
I cannot believe how crazy it's been with the e-bikes. First of all, you feel like it's dangerous. They're going too fast. You're worried about the kids, that they're going to get into accidents. They're not obeying the traffic rules. They are a motor vehicle.
Trey Rondo and his friends were riding their e-bikes through downtown. Trey says he loves riding his e-bike and he appreciates some of those rules.
If you ride without your helmet, that's pretty stupid already. I've had friends killed without their helmets, so I understand that rule. That's a forced rule that I will agree with, actually. If people disagree, I'm sorry. Riding against traffic, that's always a bit dangerous, especially at night. Riding at night is pretty dangerous also. I don't think we're going to be allowed to ride with 2 people if that's the rule that they're changing. I've heard a lot of rumors about what they're doing to the e-bikes.
A 15-year-old died after being hit by a van in Encinitas while riding an e-bike on Thursday, adding to fears of lack of safety. All cyclists, e-bike riders included, are subject to the same rules of the road as drivers behind the wheel of cars. The problem here is a lot of e-bike riders aren't old enough to drive and don't know the rules of the road. That's why the city is considering mandatory classes for first-time violations.
I really hope that it does keep kids safe, but at the same time, I feel like having a license for an e-bike is a little kill because a lot of kids honestly won't be able to take that class. I know I'll be able to pass the class, but I don't know if my friends will, and then that's the problem because it's going to be hard to take them around places. Just enjoy our time like we always do.
And when it comes to rule enforcement for e-bikes, Trey and his friends want some consideration.
Just having the cops give reminders, not just come over and just write a ticket right away. It's pretty hurtful actually to the community.
The family of the 15-year-old that was killed last week here in Encinitas that was riding the e-bike, some of those family members are here and they've asked for supporters to come so that they can weigh in on this emergency declaration and what's next for Encinitas when it comes to e-bikes. So here's the plan. So far, they're going to start an informational campaign, and then police and sheriff's deputies, law enforcement here will start enforcing the rules of the road for drivers as well as e-bike riders. You can find all of the rules that you need on our website, cbs8.com.
Kirsten, you talked about the city considering mandatory classes for some people. Are there already classes e-bike riders can take to learn about safety before they end up in a violation?
That's right. There are classes that you can take right now. The next class is offered by the City of Encinitas and the San Diego County Bicycle Coalition. That class is July 15th, and there will be another one on August 19th. This information is also on our website, cbs8.com. Back to you, Jesse.
All right, something to keep an eye on. Kirsten Holmes live for us in Encinitas tonight. Kirsten, thank you. San Diego Sheriff's deputies want your help identifying two people they say assaulted and robbed two others in the Lincoln Acres neighborhood near Chula Vista in May. Detectives say the robbers forced two people inside a home at gunpoint, then stole a wallet with about $250 in cash. One of the victims then tried to wrestle with one of the robbers but got shot in the foot. Investigators say the robbers then sped off in their car. This is what that looks like. They think the two are in their mid-20s, driving a 2018 to 2023 Toyota Camry. This is a sketch of one of them. One of them might be named David. If you know anything, call Crime Stoppers. That number at the bottom of your screen.
Still ahead tonight, President Biden goes on the road as the 2024 race for the White House heats up.
Plus, iconic movie memorabilia on the auction block tonight, where you can go to make a bid if you've got the cash.
And after months of clouds and cool conditions, get ready for some very hot conditions. In fact, an excessive heat watch has been issued for much of San Diego and Southern California. I'm meteorologist Sean Stiles with your microclimate forecast.
And how much more you'll be paying at the pump after a gas tax takes effect this weekend.